woman in Tennessee has been charged with attempted first-degree murder after she attempted to do an abortion on herself. She was 24 weeks pregnant, and Anna Yocca apparently filled a bathtub with hot water, got in the bathtub, and then used a coat hanger to do the abortion. When she started bleeding profusely, she got scared, and her boyfriend took her to the hospital, and that was when authorities found out what she did. Now, her boyfriend took her to the hospital where doctors delivered a 24-week-old baby weighing just 1.5 pounds. Doctors told investigators the child will need medical support for the rest of his life because of the injuries sustained. He has severe injuries, including damage to his lungs and his eyes. It's a devastating story in so many different ways. So, of course, this made me want to look into the abortion laws in Tennessee. Obviously, they vary state by state, and a lot of these red states are becoming more and more restrictive when it comes to reproductive rights. And Guttmacher Institute, which does great studies and data on this, found that in 2011, 96% of Tennessee counties had no abortion clinic. About 63% of Tennessee women lived in these counties. A woman must receive state-directed counseling and then wait 48 hours before the procedure is provided. Counseling must be provided in person and must take place before the waiting period begins, thereby necessitating 2 separate trips to the facility. So if there are few clinics in the state and you have to go through a 42-hour waiting period, well, for people who are in a lower socioeconomic status, you just don't have the resources for something like that. I'm not making excuses for her. Honestly, at 24 weeks, what she did was horrendous. I don't know if she should be facing murder charges for that or attempted murder charges for that. But this is a very complicated story, and this shows you what the consequences are when you start making reproductive rights more and more restrictive.
So, I hope to God that didn't deter her from going earlier. But that's part of the point of the laws is to deter people from going in. That's why you got to wait 48 hours. You have to go back several times. That's why 96% of the counties don't have abortion clinics, because they don't want you to get one. And sometimes it causes people to wait and get indecisive. Now, having said all that, none of it excuses her actions. At 24 weeks, it's illegal. It's illegal according to Roe versus Wade. It's illegal according to our laws, and it should be. That baby survived. The reason why late-term abortions are illegal is because at that point, they can survive. They are independent life forms. They can survive outside the mom. So the cutoff is never, perfect. And sometimes a 24-week-old baby might not survive outside the womb. But we have to have some cutoff. It's a reasonable cutoff that we have. And if you try to do an abortion after that, well, that's not really an abortion. That's, killing an independent life form.
Yeah.
So, we often talk about early term abortions. Well, that's a clump of cells that hasn't become a human being yet.
It's not viable outside the womb. And
right.
for me, that's really the thing that's in question. And so one of the things that kept popping up with Republicans during the last presidential election is they wanted the cutoff period for abortions to be 20 weeks. And I didn't think that was unreasonable. The only thing that I didn't like about that is usually Republicans are trying to scale back on reproductive rights as much as possible. They're not really being genuine or sincere when they're saying, oh, we just want to cut it off at 20 weeks. They just want to do away with abortion completely. But at 20 weeks, you get into the murky waters, and you know that life form could be viable outside the womb. And I don't agree with abortion in those situations unless the woman's life is in danger.
So that's a gray zone that is worthy of debate. 24 weeks is not a gray zone.
Yeah.
And so what she did was a crime. And I think it's fairly clear. There's a reason we have those laws. You don't get to have a choice after the baby's viable outside your body. So unfortunately, it's a total tragedy here.